So this is Canva. We're going to do a tour of what Canva provides in the free version and the tools that they provide for new users, and then we're going to jump in. So please go to canva.com/about and you'll be taken to this front page here. So we're going to take a tour, a walk through the program here. And I just want to point out that on their homepage, they're displaying a sample of their features, not a complete picture. But I do want to point out that they are showing us that they have templates here. You don't have to know exactly what size you need to make things. They have a Facebook cover template. They have a Facebook post template. You'll see Instagram here. And then I want you to pay attention to things that say flyer. Because flyer means that it's a print template. So when we think of a flyer, you think of a 8.5 by 11, right? There's also a social media graphic template, which is very interesting because they have a Facebook one and then they have an Instagram one. So if you don't have the elevated version of Canva, but you want to make it one time and use it across everything, I would suggest using the social media template. We'll dig into that later, so don't get overwhelmed yet. I wanted to scroll down a little bit after that to show you that the features that Canva has. So first of all, they have all the images that you should need. They have stock photos, vector graphics, which are just graphics that you can make to any size without it looking weird. Little cartoons, icons, and those are all copyright free. Canva has photographers, so you don't have to go out and find pictures and worry about copyright stuff, and that is huge. It makes things fast. You can also use photo filters, which are really cool with the young crowd and are very helpful if you want to make the tone of an image match the tone of what you're trying to share. Again, I'm going to mention the free icons and shapes because those come in handy when you're thinking about an infographic, right? And you want to do a lot of information in a small amount of space. Using icons is very helpful. You'll recall that WVLS creates an infographic every year at the beginning of the year using your library's annual report information. So touch base with me if you're not sure of that. And also fonts. There's all kinds of fonts. Whether you're using the free version or the upgraded version, there's plenty of fonts that for you to use that you don't need to bring anything else in there. Keeps things fast and neat. I'm going to scroll down this promotional area and we find ourselves at the bottom, which is actually, or the footer of the Canva homepage website, which is actually my favorite part of the homepage. So on the bottom of the page here, I want you to pay attention. Under product, you'll see a menu term for nonprofits. It used to be really hard to find a way to apply for an upgraded Canva version for free for a nonprofit. But now they've made it easier where you can find that information and pursue a higher level of tools and service in Canva as a nonprofit for free. So if you're interested in that, pop in there. Otherwise, you can click on pricing and it's very affordable. Just to give you an idea of what you can do with the free version, I've only had the upgraded version or the pro version or the business version, whatever I have, for 1 year. And I've been with WVLS for over 4 years. So I've been using Canva for free for 3 years. So a lot of the stuff, most of the stuff that I made up until this past year was using the free version. So you can do a lot with it. Okay, let's skip ahead. Under resources, I want to bring up an example of things that I do. So you'll see a lot of times in the designs that I've made, I use two kinds of fonts. A fancier one and then a more straight informational font. Now, how do you figure out which ones look good together? That's what the font combination tool does for you. So you can open up the font combination tool and it says select a starter font. So think of a starter font as your title font. So I like to have a very powerful starter font or a title font, and you can see that the title is this Bebas Noi. And then underneath it, it suggests a font called Source Sans Pro for you, right? Let's try that again. Let's pick a crazy fancy font and see what it pairs with it. Ooh, this one's kind of fancy. Okay. And then so this one is called JAF Herb, and then the pairable font is Chaparral Pro. It's giving you examples of what that could look like on your page, right? The first thing I'm going to suggest is get very easily readable texts, fonts. I'm not sure that this is super readable, but that's up to you. So now, just a quick caveat here, this font combination tool does not have every single font that's in Canva, but it has most of them. And the higher up you get with upgraded versions, the more fonts you're going to get. So this is just a very nice tutorial that shows you that, hey, a sans serif font should probably be paired with a serif font. And when I say serif, that means this one doesn't have any extra doilies on it, this lower one here. But then when you look at the title font, this one does have kind of these extra additions to the letters. So the one up here is a serif font, and the one beneath it is a sans serif font. And they complement each other nicely. Okay, enough of that one. Let's go to the color palette. So I'm just still on the About page, and I'm still at the footer. And I'm going to go to the palette generator. The first thing that I want to tell you is you want to use a set amount of colors in each design. You don't want to have 10 different colors and 10 different fonts. So just like you have like 2 to 3 fonts maximum, you should have the same amount of colors maximum for the most simple, readable, quick design. So they're showing you what this tool can do for you. It pulls a color palette out of a photo. I'm going to show you a trick here. If you upload your library's logo, it will pull your library's colors out of your library logo. So here's WVLS, and it gives us these nice colors, which are close, and I have an official sheet that gives me our official number codes. If you don't have a sheet with these number codes, this is a way to get close to those numbers. It's not perfect, but it's going to give you a good idea of what colors you should be using that complement your logo. But you don't have to use those colors all the time, but for branding purposes, if you want to spell out, say our system name is abbreviated in our logo, and you want to type that out, well, maybe you could put that in a complementary color. So you can also try and pull font, a color palette out of images, and it's showing you how to do that. You just upload the image in here if you want to do an image that's yours, or you can try their demo pictures and get a nice selection. So I'm a color nerd. I like that stuff. What's up next? The logo maker is awful, and stay away from it. If I hear any of you have used the logo maker, I don't know what I would do, but I would try and help you. So if you don't have a library logo, what I would do is make you a placeholder text logo and then work with you to get a formal logo. So just a side note there. The other ones in here, again, the logo maker is awful. I want to point out the design size guide. If you do want to get very specific for a specific platform, say YouTube, you can click on the design size guide and see that they have the exact measurements in pixels for different areas around the page. So the channel icon. The channel icon is this guy right here, WVLS. Channel art is what's above here. So those kind of resemble the petals here. I'd probably change it. Desktop display, how, if somebody clicks on a video and they want it full size on their computer, that's what it looks like. Tablet display. Video thumbnail is very important. If we go to our channel here and we look at our videos, this is the thumbnail. So you want to make sure that your thumbnails look really cute and enticing to get people to look at them. So when you upload a video, you can add a custom thumbnail, which is really quite cool. And you'll see you'll want to try and get a nice, cute, colorful thumbnail there. Okay, enough with that. Last thing before we jump in, friends, up at the top of canva.com/about, we will find under Learn that there is a design school. And if you click on tutorials and scroll down, these are very fast challenges to get you comfortable using Canva and the different styles of Canva. So if I click on getting started with Canva just to show you, there's a Canva starter challenge. And it's going to show me how to use Canva. It says in 2 minutes, so we'll be the judge of that. So I'm going to increase the size here, so hopefully you'll be able to see my screen a little bit better. It says, become a design pro in minutes. This 2-minute tutorial will show you just how easy Canva is to use. It says, click on the circle to change it to your favorite color. So I'm going to kind of click around the page here so you can see these different toolbars up here when I click in different places. So if I click on the circle, we have these new controls up here, and you can see that this gray kind of matches. Well, if you click on it, all you need to do, once you have the item that you want to change the color, you just click the color and you're done. Now, if I didn't know what to do, there's this hint at the bottom of the screen. It says click the circle, then click the color tile in the toolbar above the document. So this tutorial is very slick. It makes it a challenge for you, but also gives you a hint if you have no idea what you're doing. So the next challenge is search for a hat and put it on the monkey's head. I'm going to search for a hat over here without changing anything. When I say, oh, this isn't where I need to be. These are templates. So on the left-hand side, I see photos, elements, text. I'm going to click on elements. Then I'm going to search hat. Look at all these sweet hats for Mr. Monkey here. And I want to stress that Canva is a drag and drop program. So when in doubt, drag what you want from the left to the right, and then you can resize it by clicking on those really nifty corner white dots. Oh, and in the clue it says, click on elements, right? And that's where we went. The next one is add a background to this page. So I'm going to go back over to the left over here, and I see background. So I like to use landscapes. So I'm going to drag this over, and boom, I made a background on the page. Search for fruit and drag your favorite image into the frame below. So image, I'm going to go to photos. I'm going to search fruit. And now I did it this way on purpose because you can see a lot of the images have many options, like there's no background on this image. So look at how slick that looks. There is a background on this one. That still looks pretty slick. You'll notice when I'm hovering over these images that these say pro, 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 pro. Oh, free. So in the free version, this is the image that I would use, or an image that is available to me. So I can keep hovering over here, but you'll notice that if you get the upgraded version, there are many more options. But there are still very good options in the free version. Okay. Choose a template from the sidebar on the left. Then click Uploads and use your pictures. Ooh, this feels like a challenge. So templates on the left. And here's all these really cool, slick looking templates. And the second part of it says click Uploads and use your own pictures. So I'm going to click this one that has a whole bunch of pictures in it. And this is a free one. So here we go. Here's a free template, and then it says go to Uploads and use your own pictures. So I'm going to pick these really sassy outdoor pictures and just drag them over to the template. And you can see how easy it is. Oh, there's a mermaid tail. Very cool. And under the sea. But look at how easy this is. I can upload any picture that I've taken that I want to use for whatever this template is for and put it in here myself. And then bang, you have a customized template that's nearly ready to go. Now I am going to pause here to say that there are no templates that are made for libraries specifically. I'm going to say that again. There are no templates that are made for libraries specifically, but there are a lot of related templates that you can use for things that you want to do. Or if you're in the mood for a sassy template, you can use a sassy template and change it to what you want. So now we're no longer on the canva.com/about page, right? We're not here anymore. I'm just going to type in canva.com and I'm signed in. You can see that Jamie and I are on a team, so we can share back and forth. But if you're in the free version, you won't see that. Now, let's take a tour here. So up across the top, there's a pull down that says templates. So if you know that you want to do a Facebook post or a Facebook cover, I'm going to click on those right away. Now, if you want to make a flyer for the front door of your library, say to talk about your new 96-hour quarantine, or your new library hours, or please wear a mask, or story time online, you would probably choose flyer. And you'll see that under marketing. Okay? So there's all kinds of places for you to take a look through. But I think I'll just skip that and show you one last thing. Over here on the right, you can simply click Create a Design and scroll down and you'll see Instagram post, Facebook cover, a brochure, resume, a YouTube thumbnail, a certificate. So when they say certificate, imagine an 8.5 by 11 on layout side, right? A letterhead, an announcement, a program, a ticket, a class schedule. Up at the top, the very first one is Facebook post, then flyer. So that's perfect. Facebook post is a virtual file, and a flyer is a file that is meant to be printed. So let's choose Facebook post, because most of us have Facebook. This is the page that it takes you to after you click create a Facebook post, create a flyer. And what you can do is relabel it right here to be whatever you want. So who has an idea of what you'd like me to create for a Facebook post? Maybe something about a virtual story time or new library hours, or
tomorrow Loyal is restarting Storytime virtually.
Awesome. Perfect. Hi, Teresa.
Hi.
So I probably don't want to use a Halloween Facebook post. Birthday. We could use a birthday template here. what I'm getting at is, again, we have to be creative and find a template or create a design that fits what we need to show. And with story time, I think of color and fun and things like that. So I'm just kind of cruising to see any fun designs. I can also go to the Loyal website to see what else they've used in the past. So a lot of color. So what I'm going to do is Loyal virtual. You're calling it virtual story time.
Yes.
Okay. So let's see. I'm going to see all the birthday templates, and you can see when I hover, it's showing a lot of free ones on here. Or I can search color, and here's a whole bunch of color. That looks fun. And then you can take it a step further and see which the colors are popping up here and change the colors. So you're clicking on elements and seeing what tools it offers you to change things. And so it's offering me all kinds of color tools. When I click on this, I can pop up into the color area and add that. So the next thing I want to do is add Loyal Public Library, and virtual story time is here. And that looks very teeny to me, so I'm going to grab a corner and make it big. And drag it around and grab a corner and make it big so it can fill this whole area. And if I say, you know what, I don't feel like that area is enough for me, I can drag it here and make it as big as I want. And then we'll change things to make it more readable. So the first thing is, do we like this font? Is it playful? I'm not so sure about that, because story time should be playful, right? So looking at all these fun, playful fonts, you just take a scroll, right? Some of these are on the Pro version, and you'll see that those have a crown. So I'm going to do it without the Pro version and find some fun fonts to be using. And it's story time, so we want to make it sassy and cute. And maybe we make it kid friendly, so you see this font here is really kid friendly and it's like you're writing it. And maybe we add another shape. So let's see what shapes look like. I'm going to go over to elements and look at the shapes that are available and kind of copy what's going on, what's happening on the page here. So if I want to complement these shapes, find something that's angular, like another square or something like that, or make a star and change the color. That's not a great color. Oh, that's cute. And then I want the text to be on top of it. And so what I'm going to do is click on the text or click on the star and change the positions. When you see, you can see the changes take effect as soon as I click the button. So here's the star, here's the text. I click backward, it goes behind the text. Okay, now I'm thinking, well, that's not exactly fitting in there perfectly. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, do you want to show how you can also like fade out an image with that percentage thing? That's pretty cool. I use
Yeah.
that quite a bit. When I
Yeah.
have pictures that are too dark.
Yeah. So what I want to do is draw attention to the stuff that's in this star. So what I could do is pick all these other boxes out there, and move this star so I can select all these other boxes. Or click and drag and select all these other boxes, right? And then up at the top, you'll see this transparency button show up. So what you'll want to do is click and shift and click. It looks like it's only letting us do it at one time. So 50%, 50%. So you're still going to retain the cute color that this has in the background, but it's not going to be as, it's not going to take away from the focus of the information on your design as much, I should say. Have all these different colors in the background. So now when you have the star up here with all of your information, it's a little bit more visible than all these other areas, right? And you can, some text can be bolded, some can't. So that's important to look at. So it's already looking more friendly and more story time like, right? If you want to add text over here on the left hand side, you can click text and it'll give you some ideas for arranging your text on the page. Look at all these fun ways to add. It's giving us font combinations over here so we don't have to think too hard, right? And these suggestions usually relate to the template that's being used, so it already gives you a little bit of a head start. Oh, this is a text that would work for Storytime too. So let's get rid of that other stuff that we don't necessarily want. Control Z will bring back things that you accidentally delete or changes that you make that you don't really like anymore. So I could say virtual story time. And I could change that color to white. Oh, that's hard to read, so I'm going to change it to something that's more readable but not as aggressive. So a lot of times I choose gray. And then once you've used a color, it generally saves that color over here in the document colors, and that's saying that any other color that you've used, it's going to keep in that area. What days is it, Teresa? It's going to be Wednesdays at what?
Wednesday at 10:30.
And is that on Facebook?
Yes.
And do you have your Facebook tied to your website?
Good question.
Okay.
I don't think so.
So when I pop over to your website, I don't see it up here, but it's down here. So what we could do is put your Facebook up here on your website. Because if you're posting this to Facebook, the people who already are on Facebook know where to get to look at your story time. But if they're seeing this image on your website, then you still want to give them a tool to get to your Facebook. I'm going to take this a step further, and in Elements, I'm going to search for Facebook. Because one way to tell people without even forcing them to read something is just adding a logo of where it's going to be at, right? It's on Facebook. And there you go. So this could be your social media post and make more changes and all that kind of stuff. I would say that you don't need to put your logo on social media images because, or you put a more simplified version because people are seeing it off of your Facebook page. Now, if you're going to be using it on Facebook, there is a beautiful link here that says publish to Facebook. And then you can connect your Facebook page so you don't even have to download anything. It sends the appropriate file to the appropriate place and you're good to go. What it doesn't do is let you type in a little message and add and tag a friend or tag a collaborator, those kind of things. So if you are using a design on Facebook, I suggest downloading a PNG. A PNG for Facebook, and this is probably backwards for you guys, so I apologize. You want to download a PNG for Facebook or social media. Now, if you want it on your website, you want to download a JPEG. Or including it in an email, those kind of things. So a JPEG is a smaller size than a PNG. If you're putting it on your Facebook, you can have it be as big as it wants because Facebook has to deal with that size. You don't have to store it anywhere on your computer. Once it's in Facebook, Facebook takes care of it and is storing it somewhere else. But if you put it on your website has to support your file size. Usually PNG files for images are huge or larger. And JPEG generally is smaller, but it still looks good. Now, if you're making a flyer, you want to use a PDF file for printing. So if you want to hang it up on your library front door window, you want to print it. Now, Canva is a very friendly, user-friendly tool in that it tells you what kind of files are for what. This little downward arrow is the button you click on to download your design. On the right-hand side, it tells you that a PNG file is huge. But since you use the Facebook template, it says this is suggested so that it sends a big file to Facebook. Now, if you wanted to put it on your website, you would pick JPEG, and it tells you right away it's going to be a smaller file size. If you want to print it, you can use PDF standard or PDF print. PDF standard is a multi-page document that generally you attach to an email, right? Or have clickable off of your website. Now, PDF print, of course, is that printable flyer, so you'd put it in there. Check this out. It even says that you can make an MP4 video, so that means you could have moving things in your Canva design. Or a GIF. GIF. We can talk about that pronunciation on another day. But you know what those are. Those are little snippet movements, usually from movies of funny things that people add to their emails. So that is creating a Facebook social media share. So now when I click home, and I forgot to say the bonus thing about Canva is it automatically saves your changes, and it will tell you if it has not saved all of the changes yet. So right now it says all our changes are saved. Before we play with a flyer, so an 8.5 by 11 size, I'm going to show you that the upgraded version has this beautiful resize option. If I click resize, I can resize it to pixel dimensions, or I can scroll down and say that, okay, I've made a Facebook post. Now I want to resize that to an Instagram post. So I clicked it. I don't even have to worry about what the dimensions are. I'll copy and resize. So I kept the Facebook design. Now I'm making an Instagram design. And all I'm going to have to do is adjust it a tiny bit so that it'll look great on Instagram as well. And now it says copy of loyal virtual story time. So usually what I do is I rename things. So I'll still say loyal virtual story time and call it Instagram and call it Instagram. Again, I can click on download and it'll say a PNG is suggested because just like Facebook, Instagram, you can send it big files and it can handle that and they look great. Now here's an experiment. I'm going to resize this and see if it'll let me select a flyer, and it does. So I'm going to pick a flyer and you can see I can make it vertical or landscape, or portrait or landscape I should say. So I click flyer and I'm making it up and down now. So first of all, this is going to be huge, right? It's going to be huge on that piece of paper. And so it might be in our best interest to shrink it up and add different information depending on what communication platform you're using, right? And I'm going to shrink this up so everything fits on the page. So it's making those design templates for you, and then you just do a few simple tweaks. Now if I go up to the download area, it'll say a PDF print file is suggested because it knows that you're going to send it to your printer. You're not going to send it to the web. You're not going to send it to your website or add it to your website. You're going to choose the file that will look best as printed. How nice is that? It suggests those file formats for you. Here's another cool feature. If I say, hey Jamie, I'm working on this thing and I want you to take a look at it, I can click share and type in Jamie's email. And I can say Jamie can edit it or just view it, right? And then I would send it to her. Okay? So how cool is that? Or also in the share area, you can find share a link to edit, share a link to view, and copy the link right there. Since I am a member of Jamie's team, I can't put her email in there, but I can put my own email in there. My personal email. Guys, don't abuse this. Right? Right? And I click enter and I can say, and you can view it or edit it. And then I'll get a slick little email into my inbox and I'll be able to click in and edit this design. So that's really cool.
Caitlin asked what you use for flyers, and I think you said
Yeah. Flyers, when you're on the home page trying to figure out how you want to get started with the design, up on the top there's a templates area, and here's the flyer marketing section. Otherwise, you don't have to hunt through all the templates first. You don't have to go through here first. Here's flyer 8.5 by 11, so I click it. Or on the home page, I can click create a design and select flyer, and then you'll have access to all of the templates on the left hand side. And when you hover over them, it'll tell you if it's the free version or the pro version. But generally, I like to use fun ones. A lot of times, I use the real estate ones because they have interesting backgrounds. And then I switch out the backgrounds with real photography from that library or whatever library I'm working on, because it'll put a fun background on top of the image and kind of make it's just a nice way to ground the graphic in the actual space that you're promoting. So I want to talk about original photography from your library space because it is so important. If I usually go to the Loyal library, when I go to the Loyal website, I should see the Loyal library. I shouldn't see stock photos because there's something in our brains where we can immediately detect stock photos, especially bad stock photos. So the great thing about Canva is they do provide stock photos, yeah, but you can tell that they're stock photos, right? Let's search for story time in Canva. it'll give you some images, but they don't look like loyal to me. So in a pinch, you can use stuff like this. But what I usually use the photos for in Canva are for backgrounds. You know, you can search library, you can search reading, you can search story, and it'll give you all of these fun backgrounds. And you'll see that I use them a lot. So recently used, oh, here's some stock photos. But these are usually placeholders because I encourage everybody to take pictures of your own space. Look at these stock photos and take pictures of your space in its own way. What do your shelves look like? What is your favorite part of your library? I know that one of the favorite parts of the library for Loyal is a big mural in the children's area. Here's one where I used an image from Storytime where you can't see the children's faces. Or if I use photography, they've gotten permission to be using those photos. As I scroll down, you'll want to see some kind of original photography on your website. So, because if I look at these two images, I know which one's stock photo and which one is real photo, right? Beautiful corn artwork on their website here. The other thing is a great place to put that original photography is in your sliders, but the sliders are usually just information, so you can use stock photos too. So how do I get my photos into Canva? If I want to add a Storytime picture right in this little area down here to ground it as a Loyal Public Library image, right? What I can do is go to Uploads. On the left-hand side here, choose Upload an image or video, which is really neat. And any library that I work with, I keep a folder for that library. And I plug in every single image that they send to me. So when I click into Loyal, I'm going to see some original photography. Way to go! You'll recognize some of these images. Here's the corn, here's story time, here's some slides that we've made, here's the tent. So I feel like the tent one is really fun. It's an action photo, you know, of the group doing something. So I'm just gonna upload that. So now here's my new original photography, and I'm gonna put it on my template. I don't think I'm done. What you can do with an original image is kind of crop it, right? And make it fit the space a little bit better. And I can click crop and enlarge and all those fancy things. And done. And then send it backwards in position. Maybe move the time information up here, you know, so you can move the information around. And here's an original photo, or super cool here, I can go to Elements and find the one that says frames, and I open them all up and look at all these really awesome frames, right? And Teresa said it's going to be on Facebook, so I'm going to choose a laptop or a desktop computer to show people it's on Facebook. And I'm actually going to drag that photo into the computer. Maybe drag that around my page, right? Oh, here it is. Where is that guy? Anyways, so you can drag the shapes around your page so people know it's a laptop, right? So here's a laptop. It doesn't really look like a laptop to me. So I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to drag over a desktop. Here's a desktop computer, and maybe it doesn't work down there. Maybe it works up here. And we go back to our uploads page and we go grab that Storytime image and we put it in there. Okay, maybe we go back to the frames area and find a cell phone, right? and we find a different picture from our library that would fit that cell phone area. So maybe you want to take a picture of the Storytime craft, and maybe we can weasel the Storytime craft into this frame. And you can change the photo in the frame, or you can change the frame itself. So people know that, oh, I'll be able to watch it on my laptop and my cell phone and my computer as long as I open up the Facebook app. And the Facebook app is now behind the two images. So when I'm going to go up to position and click forward, and there it is. Maybe make this a little bigger. So you kind of just putz and play until you have it the way that you want it. Does that make sense? And then if you have a text logo rather than a library logo, you could slap that up there so it looks really clean and cute. What I'm talking about is maybe you put your Rib Lake Library text logo up there. I know that we have Loyal in here somewheres. Well, here's one of Owen. You can make them any color that you like and plug them in there. For these kind of things, I suggest it be white because you want people to know it's the Owen Public Library, but most importantly, you're supporting virtual story time. You're promoting virtual story time. Maybe you want the address going across the bottom. Because this is a print flyer after all, you could be dropping it off around town. So obviously this is not a final product, but hopefully it gives you an idea of how far you can go with things and the different features and buttons and things you can add and the original artwork. Right.
Yeah, I would just add that I think the best way to learn Canva is kind of to play around with it and just to
be brave.
Yeah, you're
Yep.
not, I mean, you can discover a lot. I mean, I would just say it's if you're not a graphic designer, it's I think one of the best tools out there as far as ease of use and quality of photos and I mean, and that, you know, it's constantly that's constantly messaged at, you know,
any marketing
message.
thing.
It's kind of, yeah, any conference session on marketing or creating graphics, Canva's always talked about. Oh, yeah.
There's some event flyers. Look there's one for a book fair. How cool. I like this one. Yeah, and the other thing is if you're in the middle of a design and you're like, gosh, this looks like there's so much stuff on it, you can look over here at your templates and say, well, maybe this one's better. You drag it over, you create a new page, you drag down your information, and you're good to go. Look, okay, so that already looks so nice. And drag that down and change this color to orange because orange is happy and so is green. And we're already looking super colorful and cute. So I'm going to reiterate what Jamie said and say that you just have to be brave and set aside a time slot where you work on Canva. Don't say I'm going to work on it until it's done, because you could play around in Canva for so long, right? And that's where I feel like some of the frustration comes in, where you spend so much time and you realize I've spent 2 hours on a Storytime flyer. This is unacceptable. But if you say, I'm going to work on it for 20 minutes and then I got to move on, that's helpful too. And then once you have a few designs that you've created, you reuse them. So on the left-hand side of Canva, you can choose all your designs and scroll through things that you've done in the past and reuse them, right? So if you've created a slide, you can reuse that slide template and even the text within the slide for consistency across your creations, right? So I'm just scrolling down here, and you can see a lot of the same things are used over and over and over again.
Yeah, I would say that's one of the best features. Or when you have like a holiday closure and you want to put that banner on
Exactly.
your website, just, so the one for 4th of July, I think I used the one from
Last year.
2019 and
Yeah.
just changed the date on it. And
Boom.
same with with the newsletter header
Yep.
that I do every month.
Yep.
That just gets the design, the background changed and
Yep.
maybe the font
And you can label it accordingly. So on here I have Wabino curbside. I have basket weaving programming slides. So you can just have something that says slider, new hours, holiday closure. You can have all those things and label them so that you know that you can be reusing them and jump in there all the time.